Pinky, are you pondering what I'm pondering?
I think so, Brain. But there's still a bug stuck in here from last time. I think so, Brain, but I get all clammy inside the tent. I think so, Brain, but I don't think Kay Ballard's in the Union. I think so, Brain, but the Rockettes? I mean, it's mostly girls, isn't it? Well, I think so, Brain, but pantyhose are so uncomfortable in the summertime. Well, I think so, Brain, but it's a miracle that this one grew back. Well, I think so, Brain, but first you'd have to take that whole bridge apart, wouldn't you? Well, I think so, Brain, but apply North Pole to what? I think so, Brain, but snowball for windows? Well, I think so, Brain, but... No, it's too stupid.
We will disguise ourselves as a cow.
North! That was it exactly! I think so, Don Cerebro, but, why would Sophia Loren do a musical? I think so, Brain, but what if the chicken won't wear the nylons? I think so, Brain, but isn't that why they invented tube socks? Well, I think so, Brain, but what if we stick to the seat covers? I think so, Brain, but I think I'd rather eat the Macarena. Well, I think so, Brain, but do I really need two tongues? Well, I think so, Brain, but we're already naked. Brain, are you pondering what I'm pondering?
We eat the box?
No, Brain. We build a boat, and then we eat the box. Well, I think so, Brain. But if Jimmy cracks corn and no one cares, why does he keep doing it? I think so, Brain.
North!
But don't camels spit a lot? I think so, Brain. But don't you need a swimming pool to play Marco Polo? Well, I think so. But Kevin Costner with an English accent? I think so, Brain. But how will we get a pair of Abe Vigoda's pants? I think so, Brain. But Pete Rose? I mean, can we trust him? I think so, Brain. But why would Peter Bogdanovich? I think so, Brain. But isn't a cucumber that small called a gherkin? I think so, Brain. But if we get Sam Spade, we'll never have any puppies. I think so, Larry. And, Brain. But how can we get 7 dwarves to shave their legs? I think so, Brain. But calling it poo-poo platter? What were they thinking? I think so, Brain. But how will we get the Spice Girls into the paella? I think so, Brain. But if we give peas a chance, won't the lima beans feel left out? I think so, Brain. But if we had a snowmobile, wouldn't it melt before summer? I think so, Brain. But what kind of rides do they have in Fabio Land? I think so, Brain. But can the gummy worms really live in peace with the marshmallow chicks? Well, I think so, Brain. But wouldn't anything lose its flavour on the bedpost overnight? I think so, Brain. But 3 round meals a day wouldn't be as hard to swallow. I think so, Brain. But if the plural of mouse is mice, wouldn't the plural of spouse be spice? I think so, Brain. But 3 men in a tub? Ugh, that's unsanitary. Well, I think so, Brain. But I prefer space jelly. Yes, Brain. But if our knees bent the other way, how would we ride a bicycle? Well, I think so, Brain. But how will we get 3 pink flamingos into 1 pair of capri pants? I think so, Brain. But Tuesday Weld isn't a complete sentence.
They're Pinky and the Brain.